What's up, Jets fans? Welcome to the latest edition of Jets Latest, where you get the latest on the Jets, Jets. I'm your host, the spitting statistician, Dane Martinez, and today we continue to talk about what we can take away from that preseason loss against the Giants, right? Like, they lost by 20 points. The starting offense didn't look good. We've talked a little bit about Justin Fields, but we do have some bright spots, and we got to talk about that, even, to be quite honest, as it relates to Justin Fields. But I want to start today with a wide receiver that has been flashing at camp. Aaron Glenn has talked about that we haven't talked about maybe as much as we should on Jets Latest, and it is Brandon Smith. Okay, Brandon Smith had a good game against the Giants. I mean, he led the team with 5 catches. He led the team with 48 yards. He led the team with 6 targets. And actually, Aaron Glenn actually spoke about him, made a point to say that he was one of the bright spots in the game against the Giants. Listen to what he had to say. He goes, Brandon Smith, that was a guy that stuck out to me when you talk about the wide receivers. B. Smitty did a really good job, and he's been doing a good job in practice also. He's a big guy who can go up and high point the ball. I thought it was a good showing for him. I think that is important, okay, because we've been talking about this wide receiver room. I don't think Brandon Smith is going to be the number 2 wide receiver, okay, but it is good to see young guys starting to show up and flash on tape. I mean, Arian Smith had a couple of drops against the Giants, but Brandon Smith has been consistent. He's been consistently making plays in camp, and I think he is going to earn a spot on this 53-man roster. However, one guy who may not, who clearly seems to be getting leapfrogged by guys like Brandon Smith and even Quentin Skinner, who's another 6'5" guy who can go up and catch the ball that Aaron Glenn said something about, is Malachi Corley. I mean, Malachi Corley has been kind of fading away. He was injured for a lot earlier on in the offseason. And listen, he didn't do much. He didn't get on the field much. And when he was on the field in special teams, he missed a block. He had a penalty. You know Aaron Glenn is not going to stand for the penalties. So I actually believe that Malachi Corley is on pace to lose his roster spot. And a guy like Brandon Smith, the free agent rookie, is someone who you need to pay attention on that might wind up taking that spot. If I look at the wide receiver room right now, right, at this point, you're going to have Garrett Wilson. You're going to have Josh Reynolds, Tyler Johnson, Arian Smith. I think that's the top 4. Alan Lazard will be there as well, right? We know he's still banged up, but he's going to make the roster. That's 5. I used to think guys like Malachi Corley and Xavier Gibson. Now I think it's going to be Brandon Smith and maybe even Quentin Skinner. Because here's the other thing. You know, when a new regime comes in, they like to get their guys. And quite frankly, Xavier Gibson, Malachi Corley, they were from the previous regime, right? Brandon Smith, Skinner, these are guys that have come in that this regime with Muji and Glenn identified and want to develop. So I think those are going to be 2 guys at the back of this wide receiver room. And Brandon Smith has done a good job. I think he's going to have a spot on the 53-man roster. The next thing we got to talk about, though, and we continue to talk about one of the biggest bright spots on this team, and quite frankly, even though a lot of things didn't look good against the Giants, the O-line certainly did. And this O-line has been outstanding. We've talked about it a lot. We added to it with Membu in the draft, right? But they have been good, not only in practice, but in both the games against Green Bay. Check it out. In those 2 games, in 58 pass attempts, the Jets have not allowed a sack. They have only allowed 5 quarterback hits. And then the starting 5 who start the game, they have combined to only allow 1 pressure on the quarterback so far, right? And it's more than just in the passing game. The run game, we've been talking about how this is going to be a run-heavy team, how they are moving the line of scrimmage, winning time of possession, things of that nature. The Jets ran the ball 40 times for 147 yards against Green Bay. On Saturday against the Giants, 33 times for 141 yards. If they're going to run the ball for over 140, 145 yards a game, listen, that is going to be near the top of the NFL this year. Last year, only 6 teams ran the ball for more than 145 a game. And by the way, all of those teams were playoff teams. Baltimore Ravens, Philadelphia Eagles, the Commanders, the Bucks, the Packers, and the Detroit Lions, who we make plenty of comparisons to, right? And again, Aaron Glenn talking about that as their brand, as their identity. He says, that is our brand when you look at it. The way we run the ball. O-line knocked people off the ball, and that's who we have to be because that is our brand of football. I think that really also, if you think about it, it kind of creates a floor for a better floor for how good this offense is going to be. You saw it even against the Giants, right? One drive, I think it was their second drive, they ran the ball 10 times in a row and they moved into field goal position, right? It's not going to be sexy. It's not going to look fancy. It's not going to look like Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill over the top. It's not going to be that way. Justin Fields needs to be efficient. We need to take care of the ball. Aaron Glenn talked about that, how we got 2 interceptions, won the turnover battle yet again. These are going to be the things that we need to do, okay? And this offensive line, we've been talking about it, and a lot of people are starting to realize that they're protecting the quarterback and we are moving the ball, and that showed up again against the football Giants on Saturday. But speaking about Justin Fields, you know, it's interesting. It's a gift and a curse, right? Because Justin Fields in the passing game didn't really look good. Okay, there's no sugarcoating it, okay? Only one completion in the flat to Mason Taylor, missing Garrett Wilson a bunch. We haven't really pushed the ball downfield. But the other way to look at it is that he's not turning the ball over, and he's not going to force it. He's not going to make mistakes because we have a run game, because we have a defense, right? We also just can't be a liability in the passing game. And that's something that Justin Fields said. Listen to this. He goes, "It'll come. No need to force it. When you try to force it, that's when tip balls and picks happen. So my mindset is always going to be take what the defense gives you." Now, that I agree with conceptually, but it does have to get a little bit more dynamic. Justin Fields has thrown for only 46 yards on 9 attempts. That yards per attempt is only 5 yards. That's not going to really get it done. His longest completion, I mean, he has 2 to Andrew Beck. Remember that first drive early against Green Bay? But his longest completion to a wide receiver is a 6-yard third down conversion to Tyler Johnson. He's 0-4. 0 for 4 targeting Garrett Wilson, right? So I think what Fields is saying is fair. And you've heard Aaron Glenn say it. They want to be efficient in the passing game, right? They're going to be a run-heavy team, and I think you can win that way. I just told you all these playoff teams, the Eagles, the Ravens, the Commanders, that are run-heavy teams that have gotten to championship games and winning the Super Bowl, in fact, right? Like the Eagles last year, I think, had the fewest pass attempts per game in the league, and they won the Super Bowl, right? So offensive line can be a recipe that's effective even in this day and age of passing, but they do need to be a little bit more dynamic. He does need to connect with Garrett Wilson, for goodness sakes, right? We've been talking about the skill set, their familiarity for Ohio State. Going 0 for 4 and short hopping a screen pass is not going to get it done. And also, if you're going to be a running defense kind of team, you're going to be in a lot of close games. Okay, you're going to be in a lot of 2017, 17, 16, 23, 21 kind of games. There are going to be points in time in the fourth quarter where we're down by less than a score, where Justin Fields is going to need to lead a drive to score and win the game, right? And I still think he could do it. I still think we have all the tools to do it, but you do want to see some of that. So while it's fair that Justin Fields says he's not going to force it, and I think taking care of the ball is really, really important, I would like to see them be a little bit more dynamic. Maybe we will see that if the starters play in the final preseason game on Friday against the Philadelphia Eagles. So that'll do it for another episode here of Jets Latest. Thank you so much to everybody subscribing to the channel, watching the videos, liking the videos, and remember, tell a Jets fan friend to tell a Jets fan friend. I always also love hearing you guys in the comments. Remember, you can become a Jets Latest insider. Click on that link in the description. You could become an insider. You can get so many different perks, exclusive videos, and other stuff. I really want to see us growing this channel that way, but thank you to everybody who does engage. Like, let's go out to your comments, right? First, George 00100 says, "Sucks to see Fields play bad, but he is improving, and plus, it's still preseason. He has the O-line to be great, so I hope he takes this opportunity." I hear you, George, and I'm not too concerned. I think it does need to get a little bit better, a little bit more downfield, a little bit more dynamic. But again, this offensive line will create a floor for what is a run-heavy team. Cindy Sturgis, 7127, says, "Honestly, I think our defensive line is coming together pretty well. Maybe not the best spot on the team, but definitely a manageable one. We saw J2 Fele flash, and remember, 3/4 of the starting offensive line was not playing against the Giants, right? No Quinnen Williams, no Will McDonald, no Jermaine Johnson. So there is still room there. We have seen guys like Tufele flash. We know that Leonard Taylor has shown out at times as well, and he did good at the end of last season. Guys like Byron Cowart, we haven't seen much of yet, the free agent signing out of Chicago. But Manny Mo 7 says, "What's going on with Nadi? I haven't even heard his name. Did he even play?" And the thing is, he did play a little bit against the Giants, but he didn't look that effective. Didn't really get much pressure. So I don't know how long Nadi is for this roster anymore. But still, next to Quinnen Williams, if you still have Tufele, Coward, and Leonard Taylor, that is not bad edge rotation when you still have these edge rushers, these young dog edge rushers as Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald. But you're right, Manny Mo, I haven't seen much out of Derek Nottie, the free agent signing out of the Kansas City Chiefs. And then Jeff's 541 says, you and the channel are really great, with a thumbs up emoji. Thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate the kind words, the positivity here. I try to match optimism because I do think we're on the brink of a turnaround here with realism. It didn't look good passing the ball against the Giants, right? But I'm giving you insights, I'm giving you stats, I'm giving you real football knowledge about the green and white in what should be a pretty exciting 2025 season for the Jets, Jets. We'll continue to talk about what we're seeing at training camp as we get ready for the final preseason game against the Philadelphia Eagles, and I will be here all week. Tell a Jets fan friend to tell a Jets fan friend every single day. When you want the real, when you want that fire about the Jets, I, the spitting statistician and Jets latest, is the place to be. And if you want more from me, the spitting statistician Dane Martinez, remember, I am the host of the FTN Fantasy Show over on SiriusXM, Channel 87, the Fantasy Channel. All right, I've been in this game for a long time, doing fantasy analysis, doing sports betting analysis, and FTN Fantasy is really a great site, rankings, content, all sorts of data-driven tools to help you become a better fantasy player and a better sports bettor. But if you want to keep it locked with just the Jets, Jets, click on the link in the description, become an insider with Jets Latest to get all sorts of exclusive benefits, and come back every single day to find out what's really going on with the green and white. All right, that'll do it for this episode of Jets Latest. We'll see you tomorrow, but for now, we out of here. Peace.